Lynn. Hi.
Hi.
You must be Paris.
Yes.
Nice to meet you. My name is Tim.
Hi, Tim. Nice to meet you.
Likewise. So, before we get started, I just want to ask, have you ever met with a financial advisor before?
I have not.
You have not?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I'm the first one. So, I just want to give you a little information about myself. I like to do that with new clients because, understand managing finances. It's a sensitive matter. It's a very personal matter. So I like to give my clients a little bit of an idea of who will be managing their assets should we pursue further after this meeting. So, as I already told you, my name is Tim. I got my bachelor's in financial planning back in 2006. And my master's in financial planning at Texas Tech University back in 2007, and I passed my CFP exam in March of 2008, and I received my certification in 2011. I passed the Series 6, Series 66, and Series 7 exams also. So as you can tell, I have a lot of certifications in the back of my hand, and I've been doing this for almost 10 years now. So it's been a long time, and I love what I do, and I wouldn't trade for anything. So now that you know a little bit more about me, I'd like to know a little bit more about you. Well, first off, what was it that brought you here in the first place?
Okay, well, this is actually kind of a difficult story.
Okay.
I just lost my husband about 2 months ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's really difficult, but
yeah.
thank you for sharing that with me.
You're welcome. Well, it was really difficult at first, but I started dating, and it kind of helped me avoid it. It helps me avoid it. When I met somebody, Billy Joe, and we're hoping to get married, so he's now my fiance.
That's so quick.
Yeah, but it's whatever. I have an inherited wealth, so to speak, so it's kind of a lot of money, and I don't want, also I got money when my husband passed, so it's honestly close to $3 million. I want to keep this amount from being considered what I've heard is community property, where my new husband can have rights to it if we divorce, because we've only been dating probably like a month. So I don't want, me to find out that he's totally not worthy of being a husband, and then us divorce and him have, rights to my money. So from what I've been told, in our state, it's any property that's owned or acquired before the marriage is my separate property, and the only property that is considered our property together is something that we acquire while we're in the marriage. So I want to basically invest all my stuff, all my money in investments now, so that any interest they acquire will still be separate property. Is that where am I thinking in the correct way?
Well, you're right about if you obtain something before the marriage, that it's still separate property.
All I know is community property is just property that you and your husband get when you're married. So when you get divorced, it's divided 50-50.
So one thing about community property is that there are only 7 states that are community property states. Texas is one of them.
Wow.
You're right about if you inherit something before the marriage, that it's separate property. However, another exception to that rule is inheritance. So even if you inherit something during the marriage, whether it be from a relative or anyone, that still counts as separate property. Yeah, so, in the event that, you were married and, someone, God forbid, passed away and gave you a large lump sum of money that you inherited, that would be separate property. So, but let me ask you something. You mentioned that you have inherited wealth and you received $3 million from when your husband passed away. Is that, did you inherit the wealth separately from the $3 million?
I had wealth through my family, and I inherited about $3 million when my hubby passed.
Oh, okay. So, you inherited wealth and the $3 million. Right. Okay.
So from after hearing you explain that, even if I do marry Billy Joe, in a month or so and I haven't made any investments, me using money that I've inherited toward these investments, it'll still remain separate property even though I'm married at the time I acquire the investments.
Yes, yes. So,
Okay.
like I said, anything that you acquire before the marriage, so, you're engaged?
Yes.
Okay, so now you're engaged, so legally you're not married. So anything you acquire now, that will remain separate property. And should you inherit something during the marriage, that will also be separate property. However, anything you acquire during the marriage, anything else, that's going to be community property.
Okay, so say I use money that I have, this inherited money will always be my separate property, from what I hear you say, right?
Yes.
So say I use this separate property funds, the money that I've inherited, to make an investment, but I don't make the investment until I'm married. Say I make it in a month after I'm married to Billy. Will that investment that I make using this separate property inheritance, will that become community property?
With investment, I believe so. Do you have an attorney?
I have several.
You have several attorneys. Okay, that would be a better question for your attorney.
Okay.
Because I know because that's kind of like a commingled thing. So you got separate property, and then you're married, and then the income, and then you got income on that separate property.
Mm-hmm.
So my personal guess would be no. However, I would double check that with your attorney.
I just want to make sure, even if the investment I make is separate property because I use separate funds, I don't want the income that separate property accumulates during the marriage to be considered community because, none of his funds went toward it, you know what I mean? Just because it's accumulating income and I'm now married, I don't think he should have rights to it.
Right.
He did nothing to contribute to it.
Right. So, like I said, my guess would be yes. However, I don't want to give you the wrong information. So to confirm that, I would talk to your attorney. And based on what you've come to me, that's this is a matter that has to do with estate planning. I'm sure your attorney has mentioned you that. I'm sure you have an estate planning attorney since you mentioned you have several. So what I just want to mention what I can do in this case. Like I can give you advice on what would happen as a result of community property. The only thing I absolutely cannot do is give you legal advice or draft any wills or do anything that's related to law. So
Okay, well, yeah, definitely tell me all that you're allowed to tell me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, feel free to ask questions. I can tell you what I can't tell you.
Cool.
So yeah, absolutely. I just want to find out a little bit more about you, if that's okay. So, like I said, I'm glad you shared this information with me. I know it's a difficult situation, and well, let me ask you: do you have any children?
No.
No children. Okay. And if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I'm 25.
25. And what do you do for a living?
Oh, I don't do anything right now.
Okay. And how old was your husband?
He was 48.
48, okay. Okay. And how old is your, fiance?
Billy Joe?
Yes.
He's 61.
61. Okay.
Also, I wanted to ask you, you'll probably, since we'll be married soon, meet Billy Joe if we continue our relationship. So,
Sure.
I just want to make sure that the investments that you recommend I make, once I've made them, you kind of keep them a secret and don't mention them whenever you meet him.
Ooh, see, now that puts me in a tough position, and I've had several clients that they both men and women, it's not just it's not just one. So what they do is like they hit accounts from their wives or hit accounts from their husbands. There were wives that asked me if they can open up an account and me invest it for them and keep it a secret from their husband because they wanted to leave their husband. I've seen all kinds of cases like that. I cannot, and when I do in those situations, I unfortunately cannot help you with that, because the second he comes in, well, first of all, I don't want to get in the middle of your relationship. So like, any investments, like, that's something you guys got to work out. I'm just here to provide advice for you. Also, the second he comes in, you both become my clients. So, I can't favor you, but I can't favor him. I have to treat you both equally.
I don't know, even though, because I guess we can't continue, like right now, before I'm married, you consider me just one client, and then when I'm married, then you consider him your client, not as if right now you consider him your client?
Well, not just because you're married, but if he comes in also, whenever both of you are in my office together, you're both my clients.
But what he doesn't know won't hurt him. I mean, I can understand if he asks you and you lie and say, what are you talking about? But I mean, he doesn't, right now, I didn't disclose all my financial assets to him because I didn't want him to think I was wealthy. I didn't want that to be a factor as to why, he wanted to marry me. So I kind of like to keep my finances, just private and to myself, because I don't want people to judge me.
See?
Which is another reason why I want them invested. I don't want them, in accounts, savings accounts that does nothing. I want them invested in maybe like a life insurance policy for me.
Well, one way or another, like you said, keep it a secret, and don't lie, no problem. I'm afraid that one way or another they could come up in conversation. So like I said, the second you both enter my office, you're both my clients, and I can't keep anything a secret from you. Like, that basically becomes a situation on your hands. Like, you have to discuss your finances together. You should know, excuse me, what he has, and he should know what you have, I'm sorry. Like I said, I've seen this in many cases, and, you probably know this from experience, or like other people's experience. What's the most important thing in a relationship?
Trust.
Trust, honesty, that's got to be in there. So, that involves like not keeping secrets or anything like that. Because like I said, I've had clients who do that. I can't really tell you statistics, but a lot of the times it has been a good result.
So I'm just gonna ask you what your recommendation is as far as me, what I should do with the money before I'm married. I don't want him to have any right to it.
If you don't want him to have any right to it, well, like I said, it's if it's before the marriage, then it should be okay. Then he shouldn't have access to it, but at least, disclose that it's there, because emergencies can happen, he may not have funds to cover it, so, maybe you could, if an emergency strikes.
But I'm just gonna, just so we're clear, since the money's inherited and we're in a community property state, I'm protected anyways. He has no rights to the money.
Yes.
Okay.
Also, if you're concerned about that or other assets, him having access to that, I would suggest maybe a prenup before you get married.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the prenup?
I know that that's like an agreement before you get married where
Yes.
it's like just keep everything separate. You guys agree to keep everything separate?
Well, not everything separate, just certain items listed in the prenup. It's like I said, your attorney is the one that has to draft it. So basically, it's a contract stating that during the marriage, this is what's going to happen, and should you get divorced, I know people don't come into a marriage thinking about divorce. However, with the divorce rate so high, you basically need one. I mean,
right.
Not likely, but you basically, just to be on the more conservative side, you need one. Otherwise, during the marriage, there's something called a postnuptial agreement, which prenup is before, postnuptial is during, and basically at that point, that you can, the other spouse can refuse to sign it, and yeah. So that's why I recommend a prenup. It's just easier that way. Just get it done with. You'll be secure. But with that being said, can I find out more information about your fiance? So you mentioned he's 61 years old.
Yes.
What does he do?
He's a model.
He's a model.
Yes. Well, he's a director slash model.
A director and model. Okay. What does he direct? Movies?
Yeah, he directs movies, fashion shows. He's kind of a big figure.
Okay. So he's a director slash model. So I'm guessing he does pretty well for himself.
Mhm.
Do you know his annual income?
I know he makes in the millions. I think last time I checked it was maybe 15 million a year.
Okay. Great. So.
Basically, I don't want, this is just throwing that out there. When I kind of write in the prenup, I don't want, I want to keep this property separate. I guess I fear retaliation, and I fear him kind of thinking, just kind of being angry that I'm choosing to keep my property separate from the marriage. I don't want him to see it as, something negative and impact his decision to marry me.
Okay, so if I'm hearing correctly, so you think that he'll take offense to the fact that you want to write a prenup.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's a common thing that I have also experienced and my friends have also experienced because I work with several lawyers and they have told me that, the fiancés, they come to the office together and they want to write a prenup and, the spouse is upset they want to write a prenup. So they have this thought in mind that they're not trusted. However, that's not the case, Like I said, like I mentioned before, you really want to maintain, you don't want to stay more on the conservative side. It's because it's like saying, I'm not going to purchase a life insurance policy because I don't want to anticipate my own death. It's kind of the same thing. Like, I'm not going to say you're going to get a divorce. However, in the event that you do, because you never know what can happen, anything could happen 5, 10, 15 years from now. Like, things change, stuff happens, life happens. That's just the nature of the situation. So, like I said, if you want, you could bring him in here and I can put him more at ease, or your attorney can tell him the same thing. And you mentioned you had several attorneys, but either me or your attorneys can help put yours and his mind at ease with that kind of situation.
Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Do you have any other questions?
No, I guess the only question I had is whether income generated from investments is community during the marriage, but again, that's a question for my other attorneys. So.
Right. All right. Do you have any other questions?
Other questions?
And one thing I should mention, so, next time, I'm sure if we pursue this relationship forward, you would want some advice about investing. So next time we sit down, this is just a meeting where I get to know you and find out as much information about you as I can. So next time what we'll do is I'll take a risk tolerance questionnaire I'll administer one to you, and that will determine what investments what investment recommendations we can provide for you. But can I ask you, are you more risk averse or risk tolerant?
It depends. I mean, I'm very risky, but not financially.
So when it comes
financially,
to
I'm very risk adverse.
Okay, so when it comes to finances, you're
I'm very
risk averse.
Conservative, yes.
Great. So, okay, that's really good to know now. But based on this, we'll probably recommend more bonds and fixed income securities rather than equity securities. But like I said, that's for next time.
Well, I want more money. I want more money in my return. So I guess I'm willing to take more risk if it means more money in the end.
Okay. So.
Also, I guess I wanted to, in addition to investments, I kind of wanted to put the money like in trust, life insurance policies, annuities, like kind of just get rid of it because honestly, I know I'm going to get a lot of wealth with my new marriage. So I kind of wanted to put my old wealth to good use.
Okay, so what you want is you want to generate a higher return, so therefore you're willing to take on more risk.
Mhm.
Okay. Then yeah, that'll probably be a good balance, maybe 60-40, but like I said, I can't give you the exact allocation now. We'll see when you take the questionnaire, and we'll walk you through it in the process. So, and the thing is, you probably know the stock market is very unpredictable. It could be up today or it could plummet tomorrow,
Right.
so it's, when you say you want more returns, that's, it's really hard to, to predict what it's going to be like tomorrow. So, I mean, we're gonna issue a disclaimer with that, stating that we can't guarantee any returns. However, we will provide you an allocation based on your best interest and what's best for you.
Okay.
Okay. Is there anything else? Any other questions you have for me?
Mm-mm.
No.
No, I
Okay.
think we're good. Thank you
Okay.
for clearing that up.
Yeah,
I
no.
feel a lot better knowing that my inheritance is off guards, whether I do a prenup or not.
Yeah, no. So absolutely, although this might be a community property state, there are exceptions, and the exceptions are inheritance or anything you acquire before the marriage.
Awesome.
But like I said, if you want, I can find out that information for you about the income. Or
I'll ask my attorney.
Ask your attorney.
Yeah, if worst case scenario they don't know, which I doubt, I'll come
Okay.
back and maybe see if you
Yeah,
can
like
help
I
me.
said, I'm really hoping I'm right. If you'd like to pursue this relationship forward, if you want to move forward, you can definitely call me or email me. Actually, call the office, and you can set up an appointment with my secretary. She knows my schedule better than I do because.
Do you have a suggestion as to when this appointment should be?
That all depends on you. I'm here for you. It doesn't matter if it's a week from now, 3 days from now, provided that I'm available for you. That all depends on you.
What kind of things are we going to discuss next time?
So next time, what we're gonna do is we're gonna discuss your risk tolerance questionnaire. We'll do that.
Okay.
And if you could, bring me anything that could be useful for me to find out more in order to help you, such as bank statements, life insurance policies. Anything.
I want one, but I don't have one.
You want a life insurance policy on yourself?
Hmm.
Okay.
One that you can take out cash values and things like that.
One that you could take out cash values.
With the cash surrender value.
Okay. We will. Like I said, that's definitely a conversation for next time. It's good that you're thinking about that. Well, let me ask you actually, did your husband have one?
Mm-hmm.
He did?
Yes.
What was the death benefit?
It was something. It was about like $500,000.
500,000.
Yeah. But one of my attorneys tells me estate tax will eat most of that up.
Estate tax will eat most of that up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, was his estate greater than 5.49 million?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then did he leave everything to you?
Yes.
He left everything to you? Okay. Then it's not a problem because, like I mentioned before, since you're a U.S. citizen and so was he, then he can give you as much as he wants.
And it doesn't count toward his exemption.
It's unlimited if you're married. Between spouses, you can give each other as much as you want at death, before death. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Wow. So that makes that more. Gosh, you're smarter than some of my attorneys. I can't believe that.
Your attorney didn't mention that to you?
No, but I think it was more so just estate tax liabilities for other things.
Oh,
Funeral expenses and
okay.
things
Well,
like
I mean,
that.
they do have a point that
Hospital costs.
it will be included in the gross estate. It definitely will be. However, provided that you were married and both of you are U.S. citizens, you won't be responsible for any taxes because he can give you as much as he wants. And married individuals can give each other at life or at death unlimited amount. Like I said, provided that they're both U.S. citizens.
Cool.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Okay. That's awesome. I'm so glad that you gave me that advice.
Yeah, no problem.
I feel like you're very confident. Now that, you know, you corrected me on certain things and you even gave me information on stuff I didn't know about and thought I did, you know, I think there's a lot more trust now. It's
Okay.
definitely gone toward your credibility.
Great. Well,
So,
I'm glad to hear that.
I'm glad that I met with you today, and I'm looking forward to actually having the official relationship with you.
Yeah, I appreciate the feedback. You know, like I said, you could schedule an appointment with my secretary, because like I said, she knows my schedule better than I do, because
Okay.
I'm busy all the time. But if you have any other questions, you know, you can email me at any time. Like I said, I'm pretty busy, but I'll get back to you as soon as possible.
Right, I'm excited to invest and finally see, you know, put my money to good use.
I'm glad to help you in that process.
Awesome.
All right.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Paris.
See you next time.
Yep.
Bye, Thomas.
Bye.